For the past 3 years, players have been taken into the realms of the entity. Soon, a new experience will bring them deeper in, revealing unspoken secrets of the past as they meet the torments of the present. Welcome to the Archives. A brand new feature available to all players, which deepens the Dead by Daylight experience, with new challenges and unique rewards issued every mid-chapter. Each release includes a tome and a rift. The tome provides free content, unlocked by players as they complete challenges. Different paths lead to different rewards. It's up to the players to choose what they want to unveil. The tome is always available and can be completed at any time. And there's more. Introducing the Rift, which provides even more free content. And with an exclusive Rift Pass, unlock access to premium rewards. The Rift starts at the beginning of a new tome and is only available for a limited time. After that, it will be closed for good. Each new tome will provide new challenges and rewards, expanding the world of Dead by Daylight. Journey deeper into the fog this October.
Hello, everyone. All right, very exciting discussion today. There have been a few epic milestones in the timeline of Dead by Daylight. Probably when we got the very first license, which was Halloween, that was a defining moment for us that made us legit. The next one was probably when we released the store, which changed everything. I think that today we are on the verge of another one of those epic milestones for Dead by Daylight. Some of you have seen it in the PTB, but the archives are gonna change everything again. And that's super exciting. So today I'm here with a few people to talk to you about this. First off, we're gonna have my very close friend Dave Richard here, our creative director. You know him. Are you excited?
Very.
All right, so you and your team of talented designers have been working on the archives for a while now.
Yeah, it's been long in the making. You asked me if I was excited. I'm extremely excited. We wanted to have a platform to be able to tell stories, to have new objective in the game, and this is what the archive is.
That's awesome. So, what's in the archives?
All right, so the archive is a new platform in DBD for us to be able to tell stories about the characters that we love.
And about the universe.
About the universe as well. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. It's important for us that on every archive, every tome that we're going to release in the future, we want to be generous with the story of the universe. We want a player to see that it progresses in time. So there'll still be mysteries, but we want to answer these mysteries as we go.
So the idea is to give a few answers and way more questions.
Something like that.
All right, cool. And there's also new challenges in the game.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's not just about the story. The players actually have to complete challenges, all sort of different ones. There are challenges for survivors, for killers. Mark later will talk more about what exactly this is, but this is the bulk of the new gameplay within the archive.
And what else do I get out of the archives?
Rewards, all sorts.
Give me.
Yeah, I mean, we're introducing the charms, so that's a new piece of cosmetic that you can use. Challenges are also going to reward you in blood points, and with rift fragments, something that we'll talk about later as well.
So that's just way too much.
It's not way too much.
Okay.
It's just enough.
I'm just testing you.
Okay.
All right, so how exactly are we gonna expand the lore of Dead by Daylight? How are we gonna do that?
Right, so within the archive, so every time we release a new tome within the archive, it's going to come with these story capsules. So we introduce, first of all, a new character called the Observer. So he's a support character, he's not a survivor, he's not a killer. He's this new character that lives within his own domain within the entity. So this guy has an artifact called the Oris, and this specific artifact makes him invisible to the entity. So he can live outside of the trials that the survivor and killers have to endure.
Okay.
So the Observer with the Oris is trying to understand what's going on in the world, in the entity's world. And he will be probing within the entity's fog, and he'll be able to find fragments and memories to try and find a way out of the entity.
Characters that are in already.
Exactly. So as we stated in previous streams and videos, when you get abducted by the entity steals memories from you.
Yep.
And that's how the entity is forming all of these environments.
So they're building
matches.
the world, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Observer has access to these memories of all the survivors, all the killers. So what's going to be interesting is that we can go into the past, alternate lives of all of these characters, and see them in situations that we cannot see in a normal trial.
But it's a backstory of the character, and it enriches the experience of
Absolutely.
living those characters.
Absolutely.
All right, that's awesome. Oh, by the way, I need to squash a rumor. He will not be played by Tony Hawk.
No.
Let's just leave it at that. All right, and so you earn these elements by doing the challenges in the tomes.
Yeah,
and it
so
unlocks the story.
within the tome there is a Oris web. So this is a web of different challenges. So the player will, decide which one he wants to complete and how he wants to do it. And some of these challenges have little story bit attached to them. So once you complete that specific challenge, you unlock a little bit of the story, and then the player will try to complete this whole storyline. And at the end, there's also an animatic that you can unlock to complete the story.
That's the other thing. So you get an animatic, a bit like we did with the Hallowed Blight event, like a 2D sort of animated thing. And then, but the pieces of story you get throughout are mostly text with a voiceover.
Yeah, there's a narration by the Observer himself, so that's really cool. And yes, at the end there's an animatic, and what's really interesting is that we can actually see the characters in these different situations. It's really
That's
cool.
absolutely awesome. The first tome that's coming out imminently, who's the focus of that?
Right. So for the first characters that we're going to explore their stories in that tome, we have chosen the Trapper, so Heaven Macmillan and Claudette.
Morel.
Yes.
D'accord. Why?
Well, they're original characters.
They're
so,
OGs.
You know, we wanted to start the archive with these specific characters because they're loved characters.
Yeah.
And yeah, they've been there since the release. And since they have like, you know, tiny bios back in the days, it was great for us to be able to look more about their past.
Yeah, it's true. We didn't put as much, well, we didn't have a team to do that, so we didn't have enough meat in those bios. So it's going to be great to revisit that.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And plus you get to see what Claudette was like when
At
she
8.
was younger. And Evan also, before he became the Trapper.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We are also, it's important to note that every single tome that is released will focus on a few different characters.
Yeah, absolutely. So the challenges the player will complete, the challenge themselves, the stories are linked to these characters that we have selected, and also the rewards that come along with it.
Yeah.
So everything is linked in one package.
And we are sort of coming back to the Hallowed Blight that we had also in this one specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. So on top of the Trapper and Claudette, we're also going to continue the story of Hallowed Blight. So that's going to be part of the archive, not the event. So they're also linked. And we also have one of the 5 stories in there that is about the observer himself and the archive, so that we understand where we are and what's happening.
To wrap it up, the archives are going to be, like we had a big content drop every 3 months. Now we have a huge content drop every 6 weeks because in between every chapter, you're going to have a new tome full of stories. And yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
So prepare yourselves for an oncoming wave of more stuff, I guess. That wasn't as exciting as it sounded in my head.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Dave out. All right, let's continue this with Mark and Justin. You know them as Mark and Justin. I don't think we've ever seen you without the other.
Wow. We're just a pair.
On camera.
Yeah, I don't think so.
At least we know you're not the same person. Let's start with you, Mark. How do the archive challenges work?
Well, it's great. When there's a new tome, it's filled with lots and lots of challenges. You always start at the beginning, and you can select one of the available challenges in a grid of them.
As some sort of a web, maybe?
We call it the Oris web, because it is the web that is generated by the observer as he looks through the Oris and sees the world of Dead by Daylight.
Enchanting.
Well, the way that it works is that you will usually have multiple options going across the web. You can select one of them, and then when you play the game, you'll get progress on it. Once you get enough progress, you complete it. Sometimes you have to do it all in one match, and it's a very hard thing to do. We call those master challenges. And sometimes
clearly indicated.
Clearly indicated. Okay. It's nice.
Because you can only do one challenge at a time.
Exactly.
Right?
You got to pick one. So if, common ones are just going to be like, do some generators, unhook your friends, unhook your enemies. And then there's more complicated ones that can involve things like unhook people from the basement, do something during the end game, do something to multiple people.
It can get like a specific perks sometimes.
Yeah, that's a very common, is you might have to use a certain perk or do something with a certain build or certain circumstances.
Awesome. And what do I get for doing this?
When you complete it, first thing you get is blood points, because we all need more blood points.
Everybody likes blood points.
Yeah. You also get rift fragments, which...
What are those?
Oh my gosh, what is those? What a great question. Rift fragments are progress on the rift.
What else do you get?
The other thing that you can get is you can get lore. So you can add things to the collection.
True.
And the collection is where you have all of the lore of the tome. And that's how you can learn about the story, all the great stuff about Claudette and the Trapper, and everything else that we're trying to bring into the game's world for this update.
So you're getting rift fragments and blood points mostly, and story from doing the challenges. You can only do one challenge at a time.
Yep.
And you get a whole grid of specific challenges to choose from.
Yep.
Some are pretty straightforward, some are super complicated.
That's exactly right.
All right, I understood.
I'm glad to hear that.
All right, Justin, tell us about the Rift, which is sort of separated, but it's kind of part of the archives.
Yeah, so whenever we release a new tome, what's going to happen is we also release a new Rift.
Yep.
So the Rift is the time-limited component, lasts for 70 days, and this is where players can just play the game, play challenges, and earn some really cool exclusive rewards.
Through the fragments.
Through the fragments, exactly.
All right.
So by earning these Rift fragments from completing the challenges or just playing the game and earning player XP, what they're going to do is they're going to progress across the 70 tiers of the Rift. So every player is going to start on the free track, and as they progress, they'll go ahead on that. And we've got tons of rewards across this and the premium track. So there's, I think, 20,000 worth of Oryx cells of rewards, which I think $200
Yeah, something
US.
like that.
That's roughly what it converts to. And if at any point the players want to start earning these premium rewards as well, they can use 1,000 Oryx cells to unlock the Rift Pass.
And you can do that at any moment.
Anytime. So the cool thing is you could play all the way to the end of the 70 tiers on the free track, get the Rift Pass, and then because you've already reached tier 70, you have all the
unlock
premium
everything.
rewards. It's insane. There's so much content.
And it's not just charms, because we're releasing charms with this, which is going to make people go insane. But there's also like outfits and other regular pieces of customization, right?
Yeah, so we've got tons of things. So we've got some new outfits for characters that we have the stories for. So Claudette and the Trapper, they have some new outfits. And we've got some other ones that are kind of variants of other outfits for other characters.
Yeah.
There's the charms, like we said, and there's the Oryx cells, which is going to be super cool. And
So that's it. You actually can earn Oryx cells on the premium track. So you paid 1,000 Oryx cells to get the track, and you might buy it, let's say, halfway through and get back, I don't know, 400 because you just unlocked that as you...
Yeah, exactly. So that's something that was very important for us. We wanted to make sure that if you are a very engaged player, you could earn back everything.
In this one, on the free track, you're also going to get some serum, right?
Exactly. So Putrid Serum...
That's not on the list, but I thought it's worth mentioning.
It's in my list.
Okay.
So yes, last year for the Hallowed Blight, which is I think the first stream that Mark and I were actually on.
Yes, it's
so
true.
Really cool. Almost like a year anniversary there. We had the Putrid Serum that players would gather from plants and the hooks. So instead of putting that inside the Withering Blight event that we're doing this year, we are putting this into the free track of the archives. So what's going to happen is that throughout this free track of the archives, players can earn up to 6 cosmetic pieces worth of Putrid Serum.
2 full outfits.
Exactly. So
Awesome.
they can then go spend this on pieces from the Hallowed Blight collection from last year, or the new Hallowed Catalyst collection.
Oh, yes. Okay. So a few of the characters that didn't get the Hallowed Blight treatment last year are getting it this year.
Yep.
I'm just going to say the clown is just batshit crazy.
It's terrifying. Yeah.
It's good. It's really good.
And the
So
spirit's pretty good.
go check it out. You've seen it already because obviously you're interested and you look at these things. I think one of the driving motivations for us when we were doing this was to make sure that it's as fair and generous as we could.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tall order, obviously, but yeah, well done.
Yeah, so I mean, those 1,000 Oryx cells that players can earn back is definitely one way we wanted to do that.
Definitely.
Then we know DBD, it's not our game. I think you've said this before yourself. It belongs to the players.
times.
It's really out of our hands. We work on this together with the community, and we love them for how much they care about it.
Yeah, and it's very important also for people to realize, like, this is not going to take away from the store and the collections that we release regularly in the store. It's not going to take away from the chapters and how we do things. We're really just adding another layer on top of the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of those cool layers is having more objectives to do for blood points.
That's it.
And the reason this is all in the tome is because we wanted to make sure that this was not pay to win. So everything in the Rift, it's all cosmetic only. There is no pay to win whatsoever.
So I want to come back to a thing you said earlier that I think it's important to expand on. The Rift itself is limited in time, right?
Yes. So the way that it works is that the Rift is only open for a set period of time, usually a couple months.
Okay.
When that's gone, that's closed, and those cosmetics are just, you're going to not be able to get them through the Rift anymore. That whole progress of the Rift fragments is going to be reset back to 0, and at some point in the future, a new Rift will open up, and there'll be new rewards and new progression.
The tomes stay forever, though.
That's different, right? So the tomes stay forever. So all those challenges that are in the game right now, and all that lore and all those blood points that you can unlock with those, that's staying in the game. What's going to happen is that when a new rift opens up, it also comes with a new tome, and that means new challenges and new lore. And each tome is tied to the rift that it comes with.
That's it. So you'll only be able to earn fragments through the active tome.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the only one that gives you the rift fragments and the only one that pushes you forward on the rift. When old ones are kept in the game, they're just there for the blood points, the lore, the other rewards that aren't tied to the rift.
And also the different levels of the tome are going to be unlocked through time. Is that correct?
Yes, so the tome actually has multiple levels to it. When it first comes out, only the first level is available. Even if you get to the end of it, you have to wait for the second level to be unlocked a few weeks later. People who come to it later they'll have to still work through the rift from the tome from the beginning.
Yeah.
But if you play it as it comes out, you're going to see new challenges added to the game on a regular basis until we're wrapped up with this tome.
Perfect. All right. And we've talked a little bit about it, but let's get back on it. What are the rewards specific that you find in the rift? We've talked about cosmetics and charms specifically. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because those are only going to be through the rift,
exactly.
right?
So charms are our big new cosmetic that we are releasing exclusively in the archives for now.
Yeah.
And I think some people kind of got glimpses of this in the past. And I think these are some really cool accessories for survivors and killers. So survivors, they can carry up to 3 on their waist,
Okay.
kind of like hanging off a belt. For killers, they can accessorize their hooks with them. They can put up to 3 on those. So the killers kind of get to theme the level with their charms, which is really cool.
It's cool bragging rights and intimidation and
Exactly.
lots of fun.
And so some charms are actually going to be universal, so they can be used by both survivor or killer. Others are only survivor or only killer because it looks really weird to have, let's say, a super cute Claudette chibi doll on a killer hook. So
Yeah, it's a little off.
a little bit.
But that's fine. All right. And those charms also are, there's none that are specific to a player, to a character.
No.
I mean, okay.
Yeah, so
That's
that
good.
was very important. I know any of our cosmetics outfits, they're tied to the characters. If we release a survivor charm, it's for every survivor.
And some of them are not in the rift. Some of them are well, they're true, like unlocking tones or something like that. They're achievement based.
Yes. The other way you can get charms just through getting in the rift is that when you get to the end of a level of a tome,
Yeah.
there's always a unique charm for that.
Okay. So what can players expect to see in each new tome?
So
I mean, we're repeating the same.
Yeah,
Sure.
We probably are. I'll let you.
But
take that
the
one.
new tome is great because it's just new stories, new challenges, new rift that comes with it. It's just a new way for us to have content, and the goal here is that right now, the structure of the game is that we have these big chapters, and they're really exciting because we have new killers, new survivors, new perks, new maps, all of these great things. Between those, we have to kind of wait for the next big thing to hit. And it's great is that when we're going to release a tome in the middle of between chapters. And that's going to have these great challenges that you can explore. It's going to have the lore, so you can explore what's going on in Dead by Daylight. Let's learn more about the characters. Let's learn more about the world. So we aren't just sitting around.
So are we gonna stop at some point?
No, Dead by Daylight's never going to
Don't
stop.
think so.
Okay. Well, that settles
great
that
news,
then.
right?
Yeah.
So just before Halloween, you'll be able to get your hands on that. That means the archive's coming out, the Rift is coming out, the new Charms is coming out, a bunch of, obviously, improvements and bug fixes, and the Withering Blight event is coming to you. So hang on to your knickers.